Hello guys, welcome once again to Empires Mode. Now I made a video before kind of introducing what the concept of this server is, and I think I made it a little bit rushed, so I want to slow down a little bit here. This is Empires Mode. It's a server I created not long ago, and it is based off of a server concept on a server. It's based on a server I used to be on. We used to have this game mode. So let's go from the top. My Google Doc over here, I wrote for myself to explain all the rules and stuff like that. Let's start with the introduction. Creative plot server. The overview of the project is that this is a creative plot server with loose roleplay elements. Characters are encouraged to build countries in their plots, write lore, interact with each other, and all that. The objective of the game is kind of not. There's no real objectives, except that, I mean, if you wanted to make an objective for yourself, you could become the person with the largest amount of land on the server. That could be one of your goals. Or maybe your goal is you want to have the flashiest, coolest looking builds on the server. Or maybe you just want to have fun and you treat it like an art project. Any way that you view it, I am completely fine with. One of the things that I would say this game mode will appeal to. This game mode will appeal to people who don't have a lot of time to spend actually playing the game. So you're in creative mode and you can just build what you want in the time that you've got. That's the idea, because that's actually my situation. Because I work, 40-hour weeks, and yet I come home, I want to play a little Minecraft, and I have no idea what to do. And I'm always on these random servers. I just need something where I can relax, do something, have some fun, talk to some people, compare my stuff to their stuff, maybe write a little lore together, write a little RP interaction. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. The key components in this game. So I am the game master. That is me. Musical mystery. That is me. And then you guys are the players, the participants in this game. The elements that you're going to kind of see when it comes to the roleplay parts of things, everybody's going to have their own country. However, the rest of the stuff is pretty much optional. You will have to make at least a description of your country. I'll explain that in a minute. So characters are something you can make. You might have a king, you might have a queen, you might have a president, you might have a dictator, an emperor, you name it. RP scenarios is what I call when somebody opens up a post in here. So let me show that in the Discord. This is all subject to change, just saying. So RP discussion we got right here, the RP forum. I have a bunch of options for what you can make. Here's the country format guide. So very simple process. You name your country, you have a flag. I'd like people to have a flag. You don't necessarily have to have a flag, but it would be nice if you did. You got to show the location on the dynamic map, which we have over here. Some people already have claims staked, finally, because they completed a lot of the process behind it. That comes first. So this is Furos's build. Well, I mean, not build, his land here. He doesn't own it just yet. Right now, the owner is me, because we are not going to start until we have a couple more people. And that's you guys. So if you want to join, please look in the description of this video. I'll be posting the Discord link. But you're going to start off with 9 plots like this. Every one of these plots is about 64 times 64 blocks. So that divides them evenly into chunks, which is really nice. 16 chunks in each one. So let's look at another one over here. That's another one that's going to be in jungle. But again, 9 plots, 64 by 64 each. That's going to be your starting land. Okay, let's go back. So, other things you can do with the roleplay diplomacy, with other countries, other people. You can have, I personally probably am going to start writing lore for the world so that people have something to run off of. Some people will be like, yes, some of us believe in this god and this god who created the world, or something like that. And then some miscellaneous things is the basic components of the game are going to be plots and people's builds on those plots. Okay, the setup is very simple. I've already set up the game. It's just a world, which is either generated or pre-made, but you got to use, I'm using Plot Squared, the plugin Plot Squared, which is a paid plugin. And to make the 64 by 64 plots on an existing generated world like this, which you're seeing right here. Beautiful world. Using, what is it? Using Terralith and Terratonic in combination with each other. So we get a very, very nice look for this world, a very nice high fantasy kind of world. There's some awesome biomes in here that I'm not going to show you because if you come on here, you can see it for yourself. So, back. So, what new players are going to have to do? You as a player, if you join the Discord server, the first thing I'm probably going to tell you is to read the rules. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to make an application. In that application, we're just testing to see whether, first of all, that you're serious, you want to play the game, and that you're not going to sabotage the server. And that should build decently well, but again, that's decently well. I'm not expecting high levels of building. I'm here for people to have fun, and I enjoy watching other people build, seeing what they do, and them sharing that with me brings me a lot of happiness. The player, must write a country page. That'll be the next thing you do. A country page where I showed you that already. The country's flag, culture, government, your architectural style. I will insist that people stick with the style that they start off with. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of hodgepodge countries that just kind of look like the default like creative plot server where everyone's building random things on it. Okay, and also you can list any persons of interest, specifically your ruler. If you have a character that's going to be your ruler, you could name it after yourself. It doesn't matter. And then after that, you'll be given that starting plot. And I think I forgot to include. Yes. Oh, yeah, there we go. I might have put this in the wrong order because after you do all this stuff, you will be. Okay, let me show you this plot world that we have. So if I go to world, all players will have access to /world, by the way. So plot world, you can see some of the applicants have already started. So let's go over here. All right. So one of these people, so what you're going to be required to do is you're going to be required to build 4 buildings on this plot. Furos over here, which is going to, yeah, Furos. This is the guy who owns it. Cool guy. He already built a, what I'm going to require you to do is to build a agricultural build, or yeah, an agriculture build. So this is kind of like a house with a watermill on it. So I'm assuming it's probably kind of like a, well, it's a watermill. It probably grinds like flour and stuff like that. This is his military build, which is a fort with tents in it. This is his housing build, and just a house. And this one is like social slash cultural build, which is a temple. So there you go. That's what you're gonna have to do when you finally after you fill out your application. Luki's here right now. She can't hear me, but she's working on it. She's doing a great job. I love her build style. Very cozy. She's got one more building to do, and that will be it. All right, and we have 1, 2, technically 3 more people. This one, JJ over here. Let me, so you can see the name. Oh, this is not JJ's plot. Which one's JJ's plot? Must be this one. Okay, yeah, JJ hasn't started his yet, but he will. All right, let's go back. So, what I will be doing in my role, because this is kind of a game for me too, in a way, the same way that like the players in a game of Dungeons and Dragons are playing, so is the DM. The Dungeon Master is also playing the game, and that's me. I'll be creating a Google Sheet, which I already did, and I'll be keeping track of all your guys' plot information. So that Google Sheet is over here. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, good. It was like glitching out on me. I have all these lists of things here. The country, to identify who owns the country, the style and culture you're building in, your point balance, the number of plots you own, the total chunks you own, and then there'll be a section, the total amount of chunks filled with builds. Now, I'll explain that in a second. Yeah, let's actually go here. Let's go back to the rules. So, gameplay, building time. That's what it's going to happen about. We're going to go on a cycle about once a month, I think. During building time, which is the whole month, players will have a period to build in their plots with a focus on creating a logical looking settlement in the style of their country. So if you're just treating this like typical plot servers where you just build whatever you want, you've got the wrong idea. So this might not necessarily appeal to everybody, but you're going to be building in a beautiful terrain, and I expect people to build a settlement that kind of makes sense. So you have buildings that look like they really belong there. So Not like you're not going to build pixel art. If you start building pixel art you're going to get banned. That's all I can say. Well, I'll give you a warning. Come on, like if you didn't get it at first, I'll be nice. These categories of buildings that I have right here: social, cultural, agricultural, military, and housing. These are just recommendations. I used to have at one point have them actually mean something, but I decided to, for simplicity's sake, these are just suggestions. You don't have to build all of these, but these are just ideas. And I'm going to keep adding to the lists of stuff that's in here because it does actually seem to help people to give them ideas of what they should build. Because lists like these don't exactly exist on the internet. You can't just Google like, what should I put in my Minecraft town? People aren't just going to, that's not easy. So I'm just going to give people the resources right away. Cool. So you'll do all this. And about a month, we get census time. I start coming in. It's me. I'm taking the census. Every period, which I wrote a month maybe, I think it definitely will be a month. I'll go through and I'll be accessing each one of your plots. So every single plot has 16 chunks in it. So every chunk that is mostly filled, I'm going to count that as a filled plot. That's going to be a built plot. Is that what I called it? Built chunks. Built chunks. My bad. Cool. I'll give you a point for every one of those. And if you add extra detail in general, so vegetation, like overgrowth, crates, roofs, roads, infrastructure, and stuff like that, just extra details that really make your plots feel like they're alive, I will take those into account and give you bonus points. I will use discretion. Let's see, I'm reading my own words here. The GM will use discretion to qualify whether enough effort has been put into a build, trying to be fair. Well, yeah, dude, I'm trying to be fair here because I want this to actually be fun for you guys. If I'm going in here and be like, no, that roof too slanted. No, you need to add more detail here. I don't like this. No, this is terrible. I'm not going to tell you that because I probably won't think that in the first place. So yeah, one thing, however, though, I will pay attention and I will notice if your goal of the game is I want to have as many plots as possible and I want to have more plots than anyone else, and all you do is you just build like dirt huts or like really boring, uninteresting buildings that looks like you didn't even care when you built them. I'm going to mention that. I'm going to be like, hey, are you here to play the game or are you just here for another reason? So we'll see. Yeah, and I'll award the players the points that they earned after I've done this whole census process. So the next step, which I probably should have made this a second step, but that's okay. You can use these points to buy new plots, which you probably already guessed. That's what was going to happen. That's what the points are for. Currently, I have it so that 12 points gets you another adjacent plot to what you originally had. So let's see here. If we were looking at a map again, let's look at, okay, this is Lukey's actually right here. She is going to have 9 plots right here. And if she gets another one right there, that's going to cost her 12 points. Another one there, another one there. If it's somewhere off over here, it's going to be different. Let's read that part. Buying any plot that is not adjacent to the existing ones will need a convincing lore, political, or economic reason. So you have to have like a real reason as to why you want to expand and have a new little like settlement. And it's going to cost triple that of an adjacent plot. So if one plot next to you costs 12, an independent one like that is going to cost 36. So, but anything that you add on to that, so you have it here and you have more that go next to it, those ones are going to cost normal. Because basically it's just like one cluster, then you can start another cluster and another cluster. And however, I will not be allowing you to have one cluster here, let's say, and then you go across the ocean, you're like, I want a cluster like really far away over here. I'm most likely not going to allow that because that's going to encroach on other people's space. And what if someone else wants to join the server and there's no more space? I'll have to expand the world, which is actually not a problem. I will eventually probably expand the world if this really like starts popping off. So that's not an issue. Okay. So where was I? Empires mode, back to the rules. All right, one other thing I'm considering letting players do is that if you're real nice, you got a buddy on the server, someone who just joined or something like that, and you have extra points that you just want to give away, I'm going to allow that. I'm going to have to figure out a way to make it work in my ledger, in my Google Sheet. But I think it's a really nice move, and I'm sure there are some people who would really like to do that. Okay, some people might be wondering about this war. In the old iteration of this server, we did have war, but it was so messy. So many people got upset because there were situations where somebody would like declare war on someone else, and that person didn't want to be declared war on. They were like peaceful. They didn't care for all this stuff, but somehow it went through anyway, and that other person got upset. They would like rage quit, and the other person would start like really like dunking on them, making fun of them, and treating it like it's a real war. I'm like, guys, I don't want that kind of. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't want that kind of toxicity because war is a fun RP element or role play element. Like writing war in a fantasy world, I mean, that kind of just happens. That's kind of the plot of most fantasy novels anyway. In the future, war might be implemented in some way. But for now, the only thing I'm going to allow is if two players want to write up a war between each other, that is perfectly fine. That is what we will have this section on the Discord server, which is the RP forum, where you're going to be allowed to do that. And that'll be in an episode, which I have not written out how you write an episode yet, but I'm going to allow a lot of flexibility on how people want to roleplay. Now consider this. This isn't like the typical roleplay server where you have a character that you're dedicated to. No, that's not the case. You have an entire country to play with. You could you could play as your king, you could play as your queen, you could play as freaking anybody. You could play as a peasant working the fields, or as a adventurer who has no country. But it doesn't matter. And this is what we used to do. Too bad that entire forum got deleted and I can't show it to you guys. But that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, once again, coming back to the objective of the game, as I wrote here, just like Minecraft, there's no real end game. But if you really need there to be an end game, maybe it's the player with the most plots. Let's say that. By the time the server gets reset, or we want to start like a season 2, because I think that'd be a really, if this really pops off, then seasons will definitely be a thing. But they'll probably be, a season would probably be a year or more, I would imagine. One season. Because a lot of people don't like the idea of having server resets really often, and I completely sympathize with that. So yeah, I've just explained all the rules. We have several people who have already applied. Let's see, the apply for whitelist got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 applications going on right now, and I'm expecting more. I know definitely one of my buddies is already applying. So hopefully you guys join. I hope you like the idea. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comments here. If you don't feel like joining just yet and you want more clarification, you can comment on the video. There will be the Discord link in the video. And I think that's all the info that you guys need. So I will see you guys hopefully very soon. Have a nice day.